I have a little time off from school, and I decided why not do anything better than challenge myself? So I've set a goal. I want to build this server's Nether Hub in 1 week. So let's begin our first day. To begin the first day, I actually had to repair my computer because it broke, and that really sucked. So I ended up going and buying a new motherboard, CPU, RAM, and all that, and I finally got it working just before we had an event late at night at LavaCraft. Every Saturday, we get together and we do something fun just as a community. This week, we played Among Us. So that was great and all, but I really wanted to get something done on this project today. So what I did is I got all of the glass that was needed for this project, and I built our first layer. This Nether Hub is going to be a ground of what we'll see in the overworld with a big room. And this glass is going to cover that ground so no mobs spawn. And that is a very important part to this goal. So I slowly worked this together and got everything done. But after that, we had our event at 10 p.m. And after that, I was exhausted from getting up so early to get the computer parts and then doing all this work. So I called it a little early and went to bed. And here it is, our first glass floor. This is going to be above the map, and just to make it easier, the positioning of this is also very important. I did not want this whole older Nether Hub that's down here to go away just yet. So I've designed our current Nether Hub, the new one, to go just on top of this, so we don't lose any materials or work. So that'll make it a lot easier on us in the future. And each of these items is a lot. So if we come down into these chests over here, these are all of the items that we need for this build. I could not do this alone. I ended up getting help from pretty much every single member of LavaCraft for this. So a huge shout out and thank you to pretty much everyone on the server who has helped get items for this Nether Hub. One of the tricks I learned while building this glass layer is Lightminica has an easy place mode. So if I grab one of the items I need, say Blackstone, I can turn on easy place mode and I can't build anywhere else. But I can right click in an area that needs blocks and it will place them in. At this point, I'm starting to take these walls and just build them up to get to the level of where we'll be standing. There also are some glass items here, but I'm going to place these last because it'll make it a lot easier in the long run for me. At this point, we're about to start on the main level. So, if we kind of focus our eyes, we can start to build what will be the floor of our main Nether Hub. There are a lot of different moving parts in this, but to make this work, there's a lot of little tricks that we have to pull. Right now, I'm trying to focus on this outer ring. This is where our edge of our floor will be. And from there, we can continue on our main base. So our big outline is pretty much in place. Now we just have to focus on the floor. So I'll be spending a lot of time just kind of holding down right click and placing a ton of blocks. 1 hour later. After getting a huge amount of help from Persephone Kitten, we ended up getting a lot done. So this entire glass floor here is in place. So now for this layer, we just have the beginnings of what will be our paths, and then we can start on the walls. For the main tunnels, there's a lot of different parts to it. There's these soul sand paths, which will be useful for people who have soul speed, like me, who can just run along these paths a lot faster. There's also these packed ice paths, and that means that we can take boats and go really fast. In between, there's slabs as well as purple slabs, which I don't happen to have on hand, but we can get them in a little bit. To help with some of the mob proofing, I'm gonna go ahead and place a lot of the carpets and mob proofing blocks that we're gonna have on these paths, just so I don't have to worry about them in the future. So the main groundwork for all of this is now done. We have protected it, and now we can start moving up a little bit. So what I want to focus on is this glowstone. because at this point, we can really just start to spawn-proof a lot of this, and I'm really tired of dealing with most of these mobs, like this guy. So, to help with that, we can get all of this glowstone in and help mob-proof a lot of this. And it'll also have an added benefit of providing some light in the build, which is very much needed. Ow, jerk. So now that this glowstone here is in place, I want to take a little break from the top of this build and focus on what's beneath it. Underneath all of this glass is supposed to be a big mosaic of the ground, and it is a lot of different blocks. So if I set my Lightmatic to this level, you can see all of these blocks that need to be placed. Now, I cannot do all of this at once, and it is a lot of weird blocks. So I'm just gonna go through a bit at a time and just slowly crack away at that. So for now, I think I'm gonna focus on this green concrete. So if I look in my chests over here, I should have a ton of different blocks. Somewhere has green concrete. Lime terracotta, green wool, green concrete, perfect. And I have shulkers of it because there's so much of it. So if I come down here and grab a bunch from this shulker, I can make sure my easy place mode is on, and I just look up and hold right click. And this is what I'm going to be doing for the next who knows how many hours. And to finish off the night, I decided I would just go together and finish off the last couple things we needed. So I went and placed a bunch of green concrete and terracotta, and that took forever. The amount of items I needed were kind of insane, and it took me a long while. So I went at this for about 2 hours, and eventually I decided, you know what, I need a break. So I called it the end of the day, and I went to bed. Alright, so I've gotten all this green concrete in, so it's pretty much all the way on the ground here in the position of its map. I also took liberty of just finishing off some of the paths here on the bottom. So what's next at this point? We can continue the ground a little bit, or we can start to build these walls up. I think I'll continue the ground a tiny bit more, but this is such a big task that I cannot do it all at once. Oh boy. So if I come and look at all of these resources here, one of the big ones I have is green terracotta. So if I kind of look at my map here, and I turn on the schematic, reload, and I go to configuration menu, set here, and set my position, I have a map on the ground. So I can look around for areas that may have some green terracotta and place them. Looks like it's a lot more lime over here. So let's actually look at some tricks of Lightmatica. So if I go to schematic placements, configure, schematic verifier, start verification. We go here, verifier. Now we have all of these. Let's go to missing blocks, and we ignore everything but green concrete. There we go. So now we have all of these blocks highlighted where we should have the other ones. So if I go and look for, where's that green concrete we had earlier? There was a couple I missed earlier, so we have this, and now everything that is highlighted are blocks that we need to place. So we put easy place mode on, we can just look up. Whoops. Place it. Now everything is correct. So slowly we'll be doing little things like this to make it easier. Alright, so a lot of the green blocks that need to be placed are pretty much in now, as well as a little bit of the beginnings of our water. So we come way up into the sky and look down, we have the beginnings of our terrain, and that is really, really important. There's still a lot to go, and to get there, we're going to be working on this slowly over time. It's not going to be perfect by any means, but it will work. So I've gone and finished a good portion of this groundwork, but it's a lot, and I think I'm going to have to take a break from it just so I don't lose my sanity. So I'm going to turn my attention to the walls over here. So if I take my schematic and I get my render layer and set it to my current position, we can see that there's different parts of the walls that can be put in. Right here we have purple stained glass, we have some polished deep slate stairs, some purple pillars. So let me go get some of that. Down here we have our glasses, and purple should be around here. Here it is. So we'll get that, perhaps some purple pillars. Where would that be? Right here. And the deep slate stairs. Let's get a few of those. Start. And now, if I turn on easy place, we can start with the glass. And we'll have these. Those are based on positioning, and I'll need some purple slabs. But slowly we can work on this and get it going. So in the corners, I filled up these walls, and they will go all around this nether hub. Behind it will be a bigger wall, but that'll come later. Looking at this over here, we actually have a archway, and these will be our tunnels that go out to different parts of our nether. So say that it wants to go over to Cat's base over there, or Goal's over there, or the starter base between Loco, Pris, and Cat, or Stephanie's base. It's gonna go all over in every direction, and each of these tunnels will take you to different locations. Many hours later. Okay, so the floor down here is now completely in place. So we have our map of the world, and I've slowly started to work on these walls. So the glowstone is pretty much in, and now I'm going and putting in this glass that goes in front of it. And eventually it'll look like this over here. And from there we can continue on this build. And now all the glass is in place, so we can begin work on the main part of our walls. As you can see, I've started on it over here, and it's pretty much just a tiling pattern. So if we come all the way down here and avoid the hoglin, we can grab the materials we need. So if I put on easy place, we'll have all of the blocks we need for now to get started. However, I'm looking at this, and it's most likely going to be a little difficult to use easy place. So what I can do instead is go to configuration and go to all above what level we had. So if I go up, this will have everything we were working on up to this point. So you can see our whole room in here. So what I can do is go build this up to the point where I'm happy with it. Here we go. This is a slab. Go down. And at this point, we have a stair. Whoops. There we go. Which goes into another stair. Which has to be facing the correct direction. Not at all easy. Go. Go up these. This stair. Go out one. And we just follow this pattern. The middle. And from here, we can finish this off. So, at the top of this, we cap it off with a bunch of slabs. So, if we go up here, go down, up, purple, purple. stairs in. This one has an angle, which is unlike the rest of them. Break this glass because it's not useful. And there's our slabs. These will just go 3D. There we go. And then we can do very much a similar thing. So we continue this up to this point. This goes across. We get our walls here, stairs up top. We can put some purpose stairs there, and we put slabs down. And that's the middle of that. So to continue this, do the same thing over and over again. And now our walls are in place. So everything is covering everything we need so far until we get the main ceiling in. Now I want to take my focus onto the tunnels. So I want to just get one tunnel in place up to the end of this point, and then we'll figure it out from there. So let's do a time lapse. And here we are, with a completed tunnel. So it's a start for what we're going to be doing, but it is not the finished build. Of course, we're going to have 4 of these going in every cardinal direction, with little tunnels coming off of it for everyone's bases. Now, all of this to come together is going to be a big night sky. So we're going to figure out how we're going to do that. So what I would suggest doing is setting a series of blocks here that we're going to have iron and walls going all the way up. So I'm going to start with this iron ring, and then I'll build a little bit of this wall. And I'll be back after we have perhaps one of these walls all the way up. And here are those walls. I went to bed last night, and it seems that one of the other members of the server also ended up putting up some of the glass work that we're going to have in the ceiling, which will make things a little easier. So now I want to turn my attention to these other hallways and finish up these walls. I'll start with this side and then continue on. And that is the third wall and the third hallway done. So now we just have one more to go, and we can turn our attention to the ceiling. After that, there'll be a little more glasswork and a final roof on top. All right, so all 4 walls are finally in. and we have everything ready to go. The only thing left is the ceiling. Either Serge or Shad, I can't tell who, started on the glass up here, and it's just going to continue all the way up and make a fog effect with a ceiling, and we're going to have a night sky in there. So I think that'll look really cool, but we're going to have a lot of work to do to get this glass going. So let's get started on that. So I'm up in the ceiling and I have a bunch of glass on me, and I'm just slowly spreading it out all the way across this. Eventually I'm going to put some end rods in to make like a bit of a star pattern, but that is not going to happen until I'm ready for it, which will be in a little bit. This went on for the rest of the night. I spent much of day 5 traveling, so I went to go visit my 89-year-old grandmother who is moving. So I didn't get too much done on the server, but with the time I had, I ended up building a little bit out and getting a tiny bit more glasswork until we ran out of glass. We didn't have enough. So that is going to slow down progress for a long while. Alright, so Persephone and I have gotten together again, and we have the last of the glass that we need. So this is going to be done really, really soon. I'm so excited. So let me finish this up, and then we'll get onto the ceiling and a little bit more sea lantern stuff. So I've just gotten the last end rod in place, and you can see it's already looking really, really cool. There's just a tiny bit more to go. We have one more layer of end rods and the final roof that is going to go on this place. Right at this layer, we're going to have a big row of black wool, and we're going to have some cobbled deep slate slabs on top to make sure it is spawn proofed. So this massive undertaking is going to be almost done, and I'm so excited for it. Yeah! Oh, this is it. The last part of this mega project. So I'm gonna need some cobbled deep slate slabs and some black wool. But first, my inventory is a little bit of a mess. So I'm gonna run down here and I'm gonna find a home for a lot of these items. Now, I will be using these end rods in the future, but for now, all of this can be thrown into the chest. Here's the last layer. I'm gonna grab a bunch of black wool, and I'm gonna grab a bunch of cobbled deep slate slabs. Now, in order to do this, we're going to be placing for a very long time. I'm going to use a little bit of a trick on this, meaning that I can grab this and put easy place mode on, and I could just place a bunch at once, and it'll save me a lot of time. But when it comes to the slabs, that's where it gets difficult. These slabs are not going to go on very easily, and they will complain and double up a lot. So in order to stop that from happening, what I'm going to have to do is just get a little area at once and then come back and slab it, and then do much more of the same. That's why I grabbed 9 stacks of each at this point, just because I figured I could get enough of an area that I'll get a good dent in it, but not a big enough area that it's going to cause a problem. And here's where the part gets a little difficult. All of these slabs. These are all going to have to be placed manually, which kind of sucks considering how big this is, but oh well, it's what I have to do. Also, if you notice that I sound a little differently towards the beginning of this video, I've moved to a different house. I brought my desktop with me, but I'm visiting my parents for a little while before I go on a vacation, and I need to watch my family's pet, so I'm back at my parents for a little while. I'm in a different place than I usually record. I used to record in my bedroom years ago, but I'm in a different part of the house right now because I figured it would give my family a little break instead of being in an area that'll keep them awake at night when I'm recording. So I'm in the basement, and it's a little better. So we've been busy working on the Nether Hub. Dyson's been working on a little bit of a build of his own, which is this monastery over here. So I want to help Dyson out as he's my teammate and base mate, so he needs a lot of mangrove. And in our farming district, we have a tree farm, but at the moment it doesn't support mangrove without a modification. So I'm going to help him out and build that modification right now. So I spent the night getting everything ready to go, and all of this is cleaned up. I tested the farm, it is working. So that means Size can use this and get the mangrove he needs. So now, let's get back to the Nether Hub. Coming through our portal, we are greeted by this site here. And it's very close to its final form. In one of these corners, you'll see it actually in its final form. But I am so excited to have this done. So, if I fly out, fly right up to the top, we have our shulkers that we were working on previously. So, let's get to work. So the first thing I want to do is come out here and make sure that these are all placed in the right position. I've decided against using easy place mode for this, partially because of the mob spawning, partially because it's just been a nightmare to deal with having to break blocks. When it is glass, it's very easy to break. I can break it with either my fist or my pickaxe, and that's fine. But when it comes to the wool, I don't really want to have to get a bunch of shears, so I'm just gonna ignore it. So I'm getting back on the server for the first time in about a day, and I'm continuing on this project. We've been going at this for a while, but there is still quite a lot to go. So this is definitely one of the biggest projects I've undertaken in a very long time. So I'm just going to continue at this, and hopefully we get this done soon. Now it's been a minute since I've recorded a clip, because I've been busy all day. And looking right over here, we've gotten just a tiny bit left to go. Once this section of the roof is in, we will be done with this entire project. So, let's just hammer away and finish it off. Alright, so I've been at this for a really long time, and we just have a tiny bit left. So, I'm gonna go and finish this off right now. So, just a little bit of wool and a little bit of slabs, and we're almost there. I thought I could finish this project by Wednesday. I was so wrong. I definitely bit off more than I could chew for this episode. But at this point, we're getting so close to having this entire project done and finished. And there we go. It's all done. We finished the Nether Hub. And here we are, with more than 60 hours of playtime put into this build. It's a lot, but we've finally gotten it done. With a beautiful night sky and the map of the ground, we have our finished Nether Hub. And I could not be happier with how it came out. It's been a lot of work, but it is absolutely worth it, and just seeing the other members of the server's reactions to this has absolutely paid off. I am so pleased with this build. Of course, it's not the end of the Nether Hub. These tunnels are only stubbed out, so slowly over time, you'll see these grow and go out to people's bases. I will probably take a step back from this project. For the most part, I may continue it out to the end and to my what will be my mega base way out there. But for now, I think this is the end of this project for a little while. I'm really happy with how it turned out, but I'm also pleased to see it done and to see this episode finally go out. I thought it would be done pretty much a week ago now. I'm recording this a few days after the challenge, and it's quite insane. But yeah, I'm very happy with it. So I'm happy to call this a satisfying end to this episode. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a like. And if you loved it, be sure to subscribe for more. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!